We're just excited to get going, and I feel like I've been talking to a lot of you guys separately for months now, but it's time to throw the ball up in the air for real. So we're excited. I wouldn't say we're completely ready yet. I got 2 more practices to get them totally ready, but we've had a good off season, and we're just itching to go. A lot of the old heads we got on this team are tired of practice 28 and practice 26, right? They're ready to play somebody. So we're excited, and we're going to practice here tomorrow and head up to Kent State a day early because it's the weekend. So we'll be up there and getting settled in and be ready for a dogfight.
What can you tell us about Kent State as far as like what you've seen scouting? Obviously, I think they were picked second in the MAC behind Ball State. We know how good Ball State is. So what kind of a challenge do you expect there?
It's going to be a big challenge. They're a good team. He's a really, really good coach. I've known Todd Starkey a long time, and we actually played him when he was at Lenore-Rhine in an exhibition here when I was with Kenny. And they're just well coached. And, they lost their, I guess, best player, shoemate, but they returned plenty. And there's a couple question marks with them. I'm trying to remember the girl's name. But she tore her ACL in February, number 3. And, I think she'll be back, right? There's a couple question marks of, like, who's actually playing. I'm sure they have the same question marks for us. But really offensively efficient. They don't turn it over much. They run really good offense. It's we've experienced a good MAC, right? We experienced Toledo, we experienced Ball State, and Kent State's right there with them. So, they go to the NCAA tournament last year going through Ball State, and Toledo had gotten beat on the other side of their bracket. So you've got an NCAA experienced team. Jenna Batch is the headliner for me. I think she's tough. They all shoot the 3 very well. Their point guard, Gray, goes downhill very well. I don't think they're like an imposing defensive team. Like we're going to see some, Texas is going to be an imposing defensive team. I just think they're going to be a really, really good defensive team. So, they rebound it better than, what it looks like. So, they're a really good team. I actually thought they might be picked first. I didn't know how it all shakes down in the MAC, but they'll be in contention for that title. So a really good basketball team that I guess the only good is that, he's a veteran coach. I don't think he's all of a sudden going to come out here with a new offense or a new defense. I think it'll be in line with what they've done the last couple of years. But I've known this guy a long time. And if you look it up, a couple of years ago, I think they were up 1 or 2. There was a baseline out of bounds. The other team had the baseline out of bounds, and he put 2 people on the ball with like 4 seconds left, and they couldn't get the ball in. They got a 5-second call, and I thought it was like you like got that little bit of like crazy in you where you try something like that. You put 2 people on the ball with the game on the line with a couple seconds. I got a lot of respect for him. So they're gonna be a good team.
Do you like where your team is at, how they've progressed up to this point? Obviously, it'll be a work in progress a little bit, but do you like where you're at right now?
I do. If you asked me a week ago, I would say I don't. We had 2 scrimmages, closed-door scrimmages, and didn't play how I wanted to in either one of them. And it's a good thing, right, because it's closed. It doesn't count and all that stuff. But the good is that we got to really see the some of the exposure parts, and we were able to fix them. So I like where we are now. But they'll tell you, the last week and a half hasn't been we got this all figured out. And I guess that is a good thing. Instead of finding out against Kent State, we found out in our scrimmages. And so they were designed to do that in that way too. So, do I like where we are now? I do. And I think we've built some confidence through some of those tough practices. We've built more togetherness through those tough practices, and so I do like where we are. But this is great because we're going to be tested, right? This is not something where, no offense to Jenny over at EMU, but like last year, I didn't think we were going to get tested. I think we put the lights on and we play, and this will be it's a tough road game test here.
Yesterday, obviously, the Sun Belt announced the new format for the men's and women's bracket, the tournament. Talk about that. Is that something that has been in the works? Did you know that this was happening? Do you like it?
Yeah. I do. I really do like it. And, I've been a believer in this a long time. When Courtney Banghart was at Princeton, I remember sitting at this big tournament in April at Boo Williams, and she was like, "Why do you guys why? Like, if you guys are good, like we were, why do you guys open this up to 12 teams or 8 teams? Like, why? The Ivy League for a long time, right? If you won the regular season, you were in." And so that's what she was like, why do you not have your best team representing your conference no matter what? And so I don't believe in just the regular season champion because I think so much happens over 18 games. But, yeah, like I'm in favor of a less risky tournament, right? And so, if you're the 6th seed, yeah, too bad. You know what I mean? It's a much tougher road. That doesn't mean you can't win it, but I am in favor of it, and it doesn't mean I think we're going to be first or we're going to be second, right? We were third last year. We would have 3 games, but they proposed it to us a month and a half ago, 2 months ago, and I do think it stemmed a little bit, had a little bit more momentum from the men's side of it, because if I'm not mistaken, App State was upset last year, right? By the 8, is that right? So initially, they got on a call with myself and the App State men's coach and just said, "Hey, look, is this of anything? Do you think people like this or not?" And you don't know. Then we got everybody on, and it was majority of it was okay with it. The other thing that it really I like is that there's no break in games. I didn't really like that you go down there, you win your quarterfinal game. And Louisiana wins their quarterfinal game. They've played 2 now, and they get a whole day to prep for you as well, right? There's also the one before the quarterfinal. There's a day of prep before that. So it gets to be long. Now I think it will be our kids will probably won't like that. They want to be down there longer doing nothing on an off day. But no, I do. I like the format, and I think it pushes the league forward, which is what I want, right? And you want your best teams represented. We've had 2 years in a row that we've been in it that whoever won it was a 13 seed and not a 12 seed. And you got to get to that 12 line to have a really much better chance to win a game in the NCAA tournament. 13 is for the women's game especially is so disadvantaged because it's a road game versus a 12 which is neutral. So yeah, I'm in favor of it.
Especially since coming over from such a unique scheme at Marshall, I'm curious how Rose Scott has adjusted to things here.
Yeah, good question. Rose Scott is doing better than I could have imagined, and that has not been an instant process, right? So you're talking about a kid that played, I believe, 6 games, then sat the whole rest of the year, right? And so how does your body respond? You're 22 years old. What are you going to a rec center, right? You're going to a fitness center at your apartment complex or a Planet Fitness or something like that. It's just not the same as training with a team all year long. So when she came in summertime, we had a lot of work to do on her physical, but also her mental in the sense of just building trust between her and I, the staff and I, her teammates and her. And she's been progressively better by the day. And maybe it's what we're putting her through, but maybe it's like, here come the games, and that's what I'm here for, right? I think Ro, if she was sitting right here, I'd say it to her. It's like, I don't think she's ever truly valued practice like I value practice, but she's buying into that now, and she's really shown me something this last week with practices, just the buy-in of what's important to me and what I'm looking for from her. And so I think she's going to have a great year. I don't know exactly what it looks like, but I think she'll have a great year.
This program hasn't started the season on the road in a long time. I'm curious how that's changed the approach mentally or game plan wise.
I was thinking about, did anybody do the research on that? Has it been like,
since 2012?
Yeah, when we went up to Quinnipiac.
2012, first game on the road since 2012, and the first game outside of Virginia started since
Huh. Yeah, 2012. I remember we did a Quinnipiac American swing and barely won them both. Yeah, it doesn't change my mindset at all. You know, right? It's like we've got a game, we've got to go win the game, and that's the whole deal. But actually, I never even thought about it. But somebody said it a couple weeks ago, and it was like, it has been a while since we've started on the road. So no, it doesn't change my mindset. We got to start with a win, and I think it's good for our toughness because we're going to have to play some really tough games. This is just another one, and so I really like the Sun Belt MAC Challenge, and this is part of that, right? We're gonna plan on doing this every year where you're alternating the start, home and away. So doesn't change my mindset.
When I talked to Ro the other day, it sounded like she'd had some personal goals set for herself, but I was wondering what you were hoping to see from some of your newer players in this first game.
It's a good question. I mean, I'll start with Ro. I want to see her be her. And what is that? That's a ball in your hands, making the right decision, dominant player. And I want to see them all play defense. That's a bigger challenge for her than Zakiya and Bree Robinson, who are, I think, elite defenders and will be elite defenders. But those three, those three transfers, I just want to see them play our style, which is really understanding it's defend, rebound, and run, and it starts with defense. Then it starts with a tough rebound, and then we get to play the way we want to play. Specifically for Bree, I think Bree will be a real crowd favorite, but I think she's going to kind of play a little bit of a glue role for us, which is, again, play really good defense. Our second scrimmage, she had 8 rebounds, 4 steals, right? That type of thing where it's like a different player, but like a Nikki Newman type of mentality where she can guard, she can pass, she can dribble, she can shoot a 3, she pull up jump shots. So jack of all trades type of player from her. And then Zakiya's got the most important role. If you're going to start at the 1 for us, you got to have your hands on the steering wheel at all times. And so that requires a lot of communication, and it requires a kind of a bold mindset of being a leader and being out there first and making sure everything's in order. So those 3, and then I expect Angela Williams to play, and in our first scrimmage she hit her first 3, and I think that shows you're a player, right? You're not scared of the moment at all. And she's got a lot to learn, and she's going to make a lot of mistakes, but we're working on right now with her how you respond to mistakes. And I stole it from Preston Sprodlin, okay? Basketball is a game of responses. Remember this, Kurt? I told you to write this one down. So is life, right? And so that's what Angela's got to learn right now is like, no, there's a million mistakes you're going to make in a game, but like you can't take 2 seconds to rebound from any one of them. And so she's made really good progress with that, but that'll be a continual challenge for her.
You said this team is almost ready. What are some things you guys have really been focusing on as you prepare to open up the season?
Our defensive effort, our defensive execution, in transition, in the half court, that had to get better for us. And they're capable, but they weren't defending as a team, and they weren't invested enough in it as a team, and understanding how valuable it is and how much it can control a game. I thought we understood that, and again, the part that's really I guess pump faked me, if you want to use that analogy, was like we have all these veterans, right? But they're not. It's still a like, let's say you take our top 10 right here, because right we've got a couple kids banged up, but it's about half and half returners and newcomers, and so I thought we'd have all this stuff taken care of. We don't necessarily, right? So there's a little bit more teaching and understanding the philosophy and getting that to them a little bit better than I was doing. So, defensively and the glass are the 2 things that will, Shane's heard that a million times from me. But those 2 things they have to be, and then the offense can come and go.
Speaking of returners and newcomers, sounds like you have a familiar face that's back on your staff. Just what does it mean to have Neil back in the fold?
A lot, and I know that's coming out right now, John. News flash, baby. News flash. Neil is just. I'm really thrilled that we were able to make this work, and he's got a great basketball mind. He thinks very differently than me, challenges me, and it's necessary. And so, what I don't want anybody to think is that our staff was lacking. No, our staff we would have got this done anyway. But you're adding another brain, another high-level basketball brain to this group, and so. I can't remember what we got on staff now. Used to be just 3, but 6 heads is better than 1. And so, the chemistry of our staff, I think, directly relates to the chemistry of your team. And that's something he's helped with over the last 2 years. And I was just thrilled to get him back. And, obviously gives him an opportunity to keep coaching, but he would have been somewhere. He would have been somewhere. So I was glad to snatch him up and bring him back. A little homecoming.
How does that all work when you bring in like Alex and Nicole and they have, new ideas and different way of doing things, not necessarily wrong way.
Yeah.
And then you have a guy that's been with you that has your familiarity and you're trying to get kind of all these ideas and philosophies to all ultimately mesh together. How's that process kind of been?
It's been I was worried, but it's been better than I thought. And it's respect among professionals, right? And Neil's not coming in, like running the meet, like stepping on people's toes. No, he's listening and again, I've never had this before, so it's interesting. Like you've developed this staff dynamic from summertime through fall, and then he comes in here in October, and he sat back for a little while and listened, right, which is what I would want him to do, and listen to the flow of it and. The ideas out there, and he's just trying to sprinkle in, right? And that's. But I've never been through this. I've never had any experience with like insert somebody this late into the idea. So it's a work in progress too. But it's been great. It's been great the time that we've got started. We got a long way to go, but it's been great so far.
Let's go back to the conference tournament format again.
Yeah.
You said they called you and Dustin first. Was that? I think you're both probably. Are you the longest tenured coach now? Is that what the reason for?
I actually think we are. I think he is. I'm not 100% sure, but I think we're the conference captains, and that's just to represent with the WBCA. Now it happened to be we've both been there a good amount of time. He was I think we've both been pretty successful too. But I do think it had to do with the conference captain. So Joy Lee McNillis was the conference captain, and I was the vice, but she is going through her health issues, and she just asked if I could step up and do that for her, so that's no problem. But I think that's why. I don't think they just chose me.
But I'm just curious because you mentioned I think they were directly affected last year, the Dayton State men. I know you can think back to like if you'd had extra day or two maybe in 2019, how things might have been different. Like I didn't know if your personal experience had anything to do with them tapping you first.
I mean, I think it helped, right, with the responses. But I really don't. I think it was. I'm pretty sure he's the conference captain for the men's side. And I think it's not a terrible two people to bring together and ask that question too, right? Is because I'm with you. I don't know. It is winning 2 games is certainly easier than winning 3, right? And if you're a 1 or 2 seed, right, it's only 2 games now. That is different, and it maybe would have been different in 2019. Now, I think we were destined to get injured that year. I think something was pulling us in that direction, because even with an extra day, maybe Lexi would have broke her hand in practice or in the semifinal game, right? So you just never know. But I do think, and I can't speak for Kathy. I think it was conference captains. I'm pretty sure.